Hello, I am making this video. I am the New York City fashion student and I am now in Houston, Texas. So why am I here? What is the Houston thrift scene like? What is the Houston high designer scene like? And how does fashion work in Houston? I haven't seen a video on this before, didn't really look for one, but Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States. It is home to millions of people. Its spread is super wide. Like, the city goes on for hours and hours. You can drive from one side of Houston and not get to the other side for 3 hours during traffic. The city's huge, it's crazy. Houston encompasses a whole lot of area, and I live in Kingwood. Well, my parents do. I lived here for 2 years. I got some thrifting experience. If you didn't know, I'm from Atlanta. I lived there for 16 years and then I moved to Houston for the last 2 years of high school. Yeah, this is where the city where I found fashion, found a personal style, got inspired to do stuff. Now I reside here and I have a YouTube channel, and I decided why not talk about the Houston fashion scene. So this is H-Town, this is Bayou City, this is Hustle Town, this is Clutch City, this is Hue, this is Space City, baby. We are in Houston, Texas. It is super huge. I already said this before, I think. 4th largest population city in the US, so it's right below Chicago. This area has some money in it, it has some culture in it, some history. So the two categories I'm going to be talking about today are luxury and thrift. There's quite a few designer stores here. It's not the case where there's more than 2 locations of a designer store usually. In New York there would be a Prada store in Soho, then a Prada store in downtown, and then another Prada store on 5th Avenue, then one on the Upper East Side, and maybe one on the Upper West Side, just to cover all the ranges. For Houston, it's only one area, and that is River Oaks, the Galleria area. River Oaks is a bunch of mansions. The Galleria is a big mall, and in one section of it, there's a lot of stores like Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Versace, Chanel, Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, Michael Kors, pretty much all the big ones covered. It's all in that one area, in that one mall space that's above an ice skating rink. That's all the luxury there is here. And then there's a few boutiques, such as, I forget the name of it, but I'll add it. And then there's a few streetwear resellers. Pretty much not that many people are knowledgeable or buy high-end fashion in Houston unless they have a connection to another city where they need to dress up, which is a lot of the case, a common thing. Formal events in Houston tend to have a lot of clothing from Kohl's or a department store. The look is not super good. And then there are Fendi home furnishing stores. It's mainly a thing for the rich people. There aren't a lot of Rick Owens, or you're not gonna see a lot of contemporary designer Dover Street Market because there's not really a market for it. I know if they put it here, people would go to it and buy it, and it's kind of a missed opportunity. There's no Dover Street Market vibe here. It's more artsy kids going to thrift stores, high school art students going over to the vintage store, sewing it yourself or doing a screen print. There's a lot of that, and this is the part where I'm getting into thrift. It's a lot better and it's really creative, and I see people here who do an amazing job at finding pieces from the internet, thrift stores. A lot of the time people don't even pay money for this. You could get a t-shirt for $2, stitch it however you want. It's really special, and you don't have to rely on corporations to produce creativity. You can do it yourself, pair really awesome things together and make the coolest outfit, the coolest drip. You don't have to spend money for this drip like the Supreme. Fuck it, I'm gonna just cut something in it, and then where was I going with this? But they go to thrift stores. With this part, I'm also gonna tell you a bit about which thrift stores I go to and where I find resold vintage clothes. So near the end, I'm gonna be talking about which stores I go to and where I find the coolest deals and coolest clothes. I'm just gonna start with consignment. Things change all the time in Houston. I haven't lived here for a minute. Retropolis is a vintage store that focuses on a lot of really retro 50s, 60s, 70s 70s pieces and more of a thrift core vibe. What you find it from a Depop kind of boomer. I would really recommend it. It's a thrift staple of Houston. That's in the Heights. Next we have Buffalo Exchange on, I don't know what that street's name is. The Buffalo Exchange is a very poppin' place. I don't see that much designer there. The racks were packed with clothes, some fucking Zara and like Forever 21. It resembles more of a hybrid between that New York Buffalo Exchange and Plato's Closet, which accepts a whole different range of lower end items. Not to complain or anything, I haven't been there in a year, so I can't put my finger on what kind of items they'd sell there, but trust me, it's not that great. And then right across the street from that is Flamingo, and Flamingo is a way by the pound thrift store. I don't know where they get their items, the most anything ass, like random stuff you'll find in there, and like Hawaiian shirts or jeans, or you'll have just a certain item that they carry a lot of, jerseys, tie-dyes. It's a pretty cool store. I would recommend. I know they're like expanding across the US and they have a place in New York now. I'd assume that it's really picked through. The good items go fast because you can get a deal on it. How are you gonna beat $5 a pound shirts? Come on. Next is the Goodwill in the Heights. There's some pretty good finds there. The location's pretty good. It's the wealthy areas. Good items come in, and it's also really picked through because all the trendy Heights teens you can still find some cool stuff. But next is the Salvation Army in Ireland. It's pretty good prices. They'll know what to price high. You'll see a Calvin Klein sweater for $16. It's kind of consistent pricing, pretty good selection, pretty good variety, taste, flavor, tones in there. It's pretty good. I found some really cool stuff, like this Prada shirt I got recently. That's the type of stuff that could be there. Then there's a Value Village right next to it. On the topic of Value Village, there's like 5 Value Villages in Houston. Great deals, and it's just a huge amount of stock that you can like look through and find something that speaks to you. And sometimes you'll find designer. I found Gucci pants, Givenchy. I got this there today. This is an item I bought that I'm selling on Depop. This is another item I'm selling on Depop. So another vintage consignment place is Leopard Lounge, and the store's right next to it. That's kind of on the pricier side if you're gonna go to one place. Wait, I take that back. Take with that what you will. Leopard Lounge has a lot of cool stuff. Leopard Lounge, kind of where the basic white girls from the Woodlands go down to. It wouldn't surprise me if they sold like a Supreme shirt there, maybe some Hermes, I don't know. And then I'm from Kingwood, so there's 3 Goodwills around Kingwood. There's one in the Tascasita, one in Humble, and then another one in Summerwood. Summerwood is the weirdest fuck. You don't really find anything and you end up spending too much. It's like cursed objects in there. I don't know, bro. There's a lot of like true vintage 80s, but it's the weird kind of thing. And then there is a Tascasita. I always go to a Tascasita Goodwill. Sometimes I find stuff. I found a Gucci shirt there once. 1 out of 3 times I'll not find something, so that's pretty high for me. And then Humble, listen to this. It's next to what I assume is a nightlife like stripper club. And then there's a kid's bounce house on the other side of it. And there's Goodwill in the middle. And it's not like a ghetto area. It's just kind of funny to see it there. It kind of smells like pee in there. Humble Goodwill is pretty cool. Oh, then there's another thrift store between North Park Drive and another exit. So I'll enter the name here, but I used to actually volunteer like mentally challenged adults for my school. It was like a thing that everybody did, and their organization runs a thrift store. It's really small and homey. It's really tight knit. I've actually bought like authentic American Indian art there. It's just a cute shop off of a feeder road. Then there's a Goodwill in Cypress, and that was like the alternate universe version of the Summerwood thrift store where it felt really weird. We have my secret, and we saved the best for last, and that is Value Village. And there's like 5 Value Villages all around the city. Tons of items, super cheap, sometimes designer, most of the time picked through. Value Village is so cheap, and you can find a lot of stuff. I went there today, like I found this shirt, Los Angeles. And this is a really neat texture. Otherwise, fashion in Houston. There's a Houston Fashion Week. There's a Nordstrom Fashion Ambassador program for juniors and seniors in high school. So if you want to get into a fashion school, that's a really good thing to do. Definitely check that out. There's a bunch of screen printers and people selling on the Facebook Marketplace their own art. And then Travis Scott is from Houston, and he had a whole album about Houston called Astroworld. He had a merch line for that. His merch line incorporated a lot of Houston culture in it, and people really related to that. I don't really like the collection. And then Pin and Pixel was a t-shirt design company, and they popularized the gangsta logos. So here this is an example of that. This style originated in Houston. Like this Sam Hyde shirt. In the Woodlands, they have other designer stores, Nordstrom. Tommy Hilfiger is more popular here. There's a lot of Urban Outfitters, Joy Division t-shirt type people. And then there are like international people who go to Rice University, bring the designer from their homes over here and hype it up and think they're the shit. But they're in Houston, so who's paying attention, right? Then there's a lot of like frat boys who wear Vineyard Vines, people who wear shorts in the 40-degree cold. Shorts and a hoodie and some Nike Elite socks is the type of guys here. The girls just wear like one thing from Depop and then some like Zara jeans or Brandy or whatever, and it's pretty basic, and they dress for the heat, so it's a bit more like open and like sultry, and things are unbuttoned, and because it's just hot here most of the time. The climate definitely limits your fashion possibilities. You can't go outside past May or April and be wearing something long sleeve, or you'll be sweating to death. Like, you have to wear a short sleeve, and we have to stick to like just short sleeves and summer collections and Kohl's pretty much. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe